and welcome back to Espresso with Saul. Today I want to go over my progression of primary firearms that I've had over the years. Unfortunately, I don't have all of them for you. I'm missing two, actually. Let me tell you a little bit about those first, but before we get into what those were, let's talk about primary firearms. For me, my primary carry firearm has always been a full-size 9mm handgun. For some people it might be a 40 S&W, others it might be a 380, other people may just want to carry a 44 Magnum. That's all fine and dandy. I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm just telling you what I've done over the years. I have everyday carry handguns like my Sig Sauer P365. Yes, I carry this one a lot more than I carry, say, my primary firearm. And has this taken the place of my primary? Yes and no. I would just call this my everyday carry or my concealed carry firearm. But when it comes to primary carry firearms, I would call it my main sidearm, my number one go-to, the one that I grab if SHTF, if Tiatuaki happens. One of those things. My main battle-ready sidearm. So, the two firearms that are missing was the very first firearm that I ever had. I don't think I can ever call that my primary carry, other than the fact that it was my first, and it was the only one that I ever had, and that was that piece of garbage Jennings 22 that I could never get through a full magazine without it jamming. Well, there's a good reason why I don't have that anymore. I got rid of that as soon as I could. Okay, and a matter of fact, I think I got $100 for it with one of the police buyback programs, which was $50 more than what I paid for it. So that thing made me money, thank goodness. The other primary firearm that I had was an H&K. It was a H&K VP70Z. Now, some of you might know what that is, but the Heckler & Koch VP70Z was a double action only auto loading handgun, meaning it had a very long trigger pull every time you fired it. But it was really cool in that, it being a squeeze cocker, it was an accurate pistol, but it was difficult to shoot accurately with that long double action trigger pull. It had 18 round magazines, and I think I had purchased 4 or 5 magazines to go with that handgun. I paid $300 for it back in the day. I wish I still had it. I used that to buy my next primary carry firearm. And that would be this H&K Heckler & Koch USP 9mm. Now, when I purchased this, I purchased some tritium night sights for it. They're still on there, but they haven't worked for a long time, and I mean a long time. This came with, I believe, 16 round magazines, and these are double stacked magazines. And I have recently found some, I think these are 18 or 19 round magazines for them. I think they're 19. Probably should have counted when I was loading them, but I didn't. I had too many magazines to load. This is a double to single action auto loading handgun. Basically, you have a very long trigger pull, and then after it's been fired and the slide racks back, it has a much shorter trigger pull. Now, this trigger pull is about on par with a lot of double to single action triggers. This one's got a bit of crunch. Look at that. Look at that amount of slop while it's in single action mode. And then you go to squeeze it, and then it's like, boing. I really liked this pistol. The trigger could have been better, but it was always very reliable for me. And, you know, I made good use of it. Let me show you this, though. Right now, it's been converted for a left-handed individual. See this? This is your decocking lever right here, your safety and decocking lever. Now, I rarely used the safety on this, but I did use the decocking lever quite a bit. Why is it converted to left hand? Well, there's someone in my family that uses this handgun now, and he's left-handed. He really likes it, and quite frankly, I don't blame him. I still like this pistol too. But later on down the road, I found one of these. This is a Styer GB, and this competed with the Glock to be with the Glock and the Beretta M9 to be the main battle handgun for the military. Didn't quite make the cut, didn't have enough whistles and bells, but I always respected this pistol. And the reason why I knew about this one is because Paul Harrell owned one of these. And, you know, double stack magazine, holds 18 rounds. It's actually got a pretty decent sized grip on it. So if you have small hands, probably isn't going to fit you very well. And you'll notice the decocking lever here is only on the right hand side. If they were ever going to win the government contract at all, I think it needed to have enough whistles and bells to be ambidextrous. Unfortunately, it didn't, but I always really liked the way this fired. This has, it's a Styer GB, and it stands for German gas Bremise or something to that effect. Essentially, there are, it's got a gas block in here that releases some of the gases when it's fired inside the inner mechanisms of the handgun. And what it does is it reduces the amount of recoil when the pistol goes off. And so it actually makes follow-up shots very quick, very easy. It's a smooth shooting gun. Let me show you. Double to single action, long trigger pull, and then short trigger pull. Look at that. You've got a little bit of slop, but now there's two different versions of this. Mine is the spur handle, the spur hammer, and there's also a round hammer. The round hammer's nice for getting a hold of if you want to shoot it single action, but the spur hammers seem to have a much better trigger, and this one is quite good. I remember Paul had the round hammer, and that one was just a little bit crunchier when he shot it. Another cool feature that I purchased with this is I put one of these, oh, let me get this on right. There we go. Get it to turn. There we go. Look at that. This is the factory compensator that came with this. And I just thought that was really the coolest to go with this pistol. And it is. It is quite good. The biggest drawback for having the factory compensator is when you add it, it changes the point of impact on the pistol. And I'm not going to keep changing the knocking the sights around to get it to hit. This hits low, if I remember right, because it's been years since I shot it with the compensator on. I think it's low and to the left. But anyway, that was my fourth primary carry pistol. Let's see here. get this back together. There we go. And back in place. And my latest primary carry firearm is my Lago Alien. Yes, you guys have seen this before. The trigger's phenomenal. It really is. It is a fantastic trigger. You have the Glock style safety on it, and then this is a single action hammer fired pistol. It looks like it's striker action. It is not, and it just has a hint of creep, and then it goes off. Very nice trigger. And what I really like about it is, look, the sights remain stationary. They don't move at all, so it just makes it that much quicker and easier to maintain keeping your sights on target. If you switch this out to the iron sights, they do the exact same thing. They do not move. So I thought today I would bring these out and shoot all three of them for you. Really wish I had that VP70Z so I could shoot that also. And no, I don't. I don't wish I still had that Jennings. I'm glad I got the $100 for it, because that's more than it's worth. So let's take it on up here to the Hill of Fun and see how they run. All right, let's start off with the H&K USP. Disclaimer, I haven't fired this thing in over 10 years. That's probably actually been longer than that. Let's see if I can still carry this thing. All right, let's try the other magazine. So far, not too bad. What did we have here? Nope, we're good. All right. Why was that one so difficult to hit? All right, well, started off better than I ended, but all in all, not too bad, as long as I've got my reading glasses, that is. Okay, now for the Styer GB. Well, we had a slight mishap earlier, so we're shooting this again. You know, the only issue I really had about carrying this particular handgun was finding holsters for it. Very difficult to find. In all the years that I carried this, I only had, I think, 2 that actually worked very well with it. All right, let's see how she runs. Huh. I don't know why I'm hitting high on that one. I have no clue what I'm doing there. I hit high, so I aimed low, and now I'm aiming low. Oh, very strange. I can hit the other ones, but I can't hit the tree? Huh. Let's try again. Maybe I was just looking at it wrong. All right. That was better. You know, sometimes when you're running, you just have to reset. Sometimes you're just looking at something a little bit wrong and it can throw you completely out of whack. And take a deep breath, reset, and there you go. You're back on target. All right, Lago Alien time. Let's shoot at the gong, see how we do here. Not bad. I pulled that last shot right there. You know, the thing about this Alien is you really want to run it. Sometimes you can get a little ahead of yourself. Let's see. Well, not too shabby, but not great. I think I need to put more rounds through this thing. Okay, what's my conclusion to all of this? Well, obviously, you need to do what I haven't been doing enough of, and that's putting enough rounds downrange so you can shoot better than what I'm doing here today. That's for darn sure. I think we could all just use a little bit more range time. Now, there are plenty of people out there that are shooting 10, 20, 30, 50,000 rounds downrange every year. And if you can do that, great. I can't, at least not right now. You know, maybe in a month or two when I hit it big, then maybe I can put down 50,000 rounds a year. But until then, give me a like, give me a subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Espresso with Saul.